Crypto goes mainstream. The Commodities Futures Trading Commission announcing the launch of the first government-supervised crypto trading platform. It allows Americans to instantly buy, sell, and finance digital assets. Fox Business's Darren Botello, live in Washington with all the details. Darren, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Maria. Of course, right now, as we all know, you can buy and sell crypto online already, but this is the first time, like you said, a spot trading platform is getting the full backing of the federal government. So why does this even matter to investors that the CFTC is backing this new Bitnomial platform? These other platforms are legally operating, but here's the catch, Maria. They're often called the Wild West. Basically, it's buyer beware. We've seen this with the collapse of FTX and customers eventually losing out on huge profits they would have had their money stayed safe in the market. They would have had it. Now with this Bitnomial platform, there are stricter standards for transparency, security, and consumer protection to prevent an FTX-style collapse. We spoke exclusively with acting CFTC Chairman Caroline Pham ahead of this new platform going live.
Not only do we want Americans to come back home and to be trading here, where they know that they have the protections that they deserve. But again, that means that American companies that are involved in the crypto industry, they're going to want to build here. They're going to want to invest here. They're going to want to hire here. So this is overall a net benefit to the economy.
This is not a drill, folks, as the CFTC is now backing crypto 100%. And although many people believe this would already occur under a Trump administration, being that he's the most pro-crypto president in history, no one expected this to happen before 2026, and this could be the setup and the catalyst that drives for new higher lows and breakouts for all-time highs into 2026. And first I wanted to start with this video, which is actually quite funny and also telling of what the future is actually going to look like. You have a gold bug who likes to sell gold through his company, Peter Schiff, and arguably has gathered, or better yet, garnered more attention from trashing crypto and blockchain technologies than he has ever in his own businesses or selling gold. That said, here he is on stage next to CZ from Binance, went to prison for I can't remember how long, but now is back in the public spotlight and has even been pardoned by Donald Trump. Again, Donald Trump would do that for him, considering he's one of the largest names in crypto and arguably had a good reason for doing so. That said, this is kind of a good example of why blockchain technology is so valuable and important.
So, I have a nice box here.
What is that?
It has some, I think it's Kyrgyz language. I took it back from Kyrgyzstan. He has a certificate. I got this from a very important person from Kyrgyzstan. Very recently, just completely by luck. So we take it out. It's pretty heavy. I'll put this down. You can see, like it says, Kyrgyzstan, 1,000 grams, fine gold, 99.9.9, and a serial number. Try it.
Yes. Yeah, it's heavy.
Is it real gold or no?
Well, I don't know. I mean, is this what you're trying to?
And so CZ used a example and brilliantly executed upon why gold as a store of value or an asset class, although still valuable, is less valuable than the technology of blockchain and what Bitcoin is. And so now that we've matured as an asset class, or getting to that point, and now we just need to see more and more institutional support and adoption, here is a video from Brian Armstrong talking about the value of blockchain technology and asset tokenization for the future. So it's not just a store of value type narrative, it's also modernizing key infrastructure in old systems that will keep the United States and major cryptos at the forefront of a financial revolution. Let's listen into Brian Armstrong.
If you just zoom out for a minute and say, okay, these companies are staying private longer, right? Sarbanes-Oxley and all these things made it more difficult to go public. The amount of demand for capital in these private companies is just going to keep growing and growing. And there's so much money in crypto. How can crypto update capital formation just like it's updated every other part of the financial services area? So there's a big investment that we're making in how to update how to update capital formation and make it easier for private companies to raise money, but we want to do it with the permission of those companies.
Ultimately, do you want to compete with Larry? Do you guys think that you're competing with each other? Because you've talked about broadening your offerings far beyond crypto.
No, I don't think so. In fact, we're a great partner of theirs on their ETF.
Right.
You know, we're powering, I think, more than 80% of the ETFs for crypto in terms of custody and trading. And, you know, as there's an effort to tokenize their funds, Coinbase is well positioned to be the leader in just tokenization of every asset. I mean, we've done that with stablecoins. You can look at it happening now in various parts of the world with stocks. It should be happening with every fund. And what we want to do is actually market their products to our customers, that the $500 billion of assets that you mentioned for retail and institutional. We want to put those products in front of our customers.
And so you have players like Brian Armstrong, who custodians 80% of the assets from BlackRock and their IBIT ETF. And aside from Satoshi Nakamoto, is the largest holder of Bitcoin in the world, just ahead of Michael Saylor in strategy. You also have them essentially confirming that Ripple has made a lot of the right moves this last couple of years, acquiring a bunch of companies to not only be a key player in terms of infrastructure, but we're talking being able to be a custodian for crypto assets, building out infrastructure for asset tokenization, which is expected to grow to $16+ trillion over the next 5 years. And the list goes on. And so this is all leading to a T, where essentially the CFTC, a government entity, is backing the very first crypto trading platform that offers futures through Bitnomial. Now, again, the writing is on the wall. If they're going to allow it for one company, they're going to have to allow it for all the other companies that go through the process of registering with the CFTC. But this is huge because essentially in the United States, nobody is allowed to use leverage unless they've been an accredited investor. But now they're going to be able to do it. That includes people like me and you, or retail investors at a smaller scale, which will create a new era of crypto trading that is actually safer than what we used to have even back in 2022 with the collapse of FTX. And this is set to start next week. So I thoroughly expect all of the other platforms to be able to offer this within probably the next 3 to 6 months max. So essentially what this means is if you've ever traded stocks on something like a Robinhood, an eToro, a Webull, you were able to trade perpetual futures and options. Now this will be available for you with crypto platforms. And so it's such a funny time to be alive in crypto because we've seen more positive news this year than literally any other year in crypto history. And I can double verify that having been in this space since early 2016. I've never seen a year where we've seen this much positive news, this much institutional adoption, and even now government backing. So then what is happening with crypto? Well, you have a major investor like Michael Burry basically stating that there's going to be a major market crash and that he's expecting a prolonged market-wide sell-off that's worse than 2000, which lasted for 31 months. That's quite impressive. And I would argue Michael Burry is someone that should have an opinion that holds weight in the minds of major investors, considering he did get the 2008 market crash right, which made him hundreds of millions of dollars. But you have to also remember that in 2022, he was calling for a greater market crash, which never happened. And then he had to close his short positions in a loss before he went bankrupt. So he's stating this now, and I do believe he's more right now than ever, considering we are officially in a downtrend. I think when the market goes down, it's not like in 2000 where there was this other bunch of stocks that were being ignored and they'll come up even if the NASDAQ crashes. Now I think the whole thing's just going to come down. And if the stock market is crashing, this would likely include crypto as well. So again, I think we're going to have institutional support at higher lows than we previously would. In other words, if Bitcoin, let's just say, was going to crash to like $30,000 from here, instead it might only crash to like $55,000 because there's going to be far more buyers at those key levels and supports, and far more diamond hands with sovereign wealth funds, like Larry Fink stated, with asset tokenization and blockchain adoption, with the CFTC continuing to open the doors for many other platforms to be regulated. And that list will likely continue to grow through 2026. But at the end of the day, nothing can fight the trend of the ocean, right? Right now, we are currently in a downtrend, and it can very much turn into a bear market even with all of these positive developments, which is kind of where I've been at in terms of my analysis.